Okay, this is what I got on the table right now. Need to make a few TrueScale backpacks. This is some of the stuff I've been working on. Really like this bike. It's a Sabor. I've upgraded the two bolters on the front other than these guns here that came with it. I like how that turned out. There's a little more of a 40K look. This figure that came with it, really no cutting at all. I just had to put a magnet into the back, magnet into the backpack there. And this is one of my upscaled backpacks, and that's what we're getting ready to make, because I've got a few that I've been working on here out of these Sabor miniatures. Just need to make a champion for my second squad, or second company, sorry. And let's see, let's turn some light on here. It's turned out pretty good. I've still got all this, very loose magnetized. You can get a good pose out of this guy. You can twist that up to where he's shooting, or with the head, like the shield, the Ultramarines. But I have a backpack on this one, but I'll have to strip it down when I repaint. I need one for this, the standard bearer. Same thing on him. I've used a Sabor miniature, one of my upscaled chain blades here. And the sergeant, more of a kneeling pose, power fist, has his bolt gun out. Still want the Sabor head on this one, just looking for a little larger head. Okay, on to the backpacks. As you can see, they have 3 ovals, and I've cut this one, and I still have 2. You want this little bar in between them there. Now, if you have a real sharp blade, you can press and cut through these. Although this is very difficult to get through, this is very thick plastic. I have a cutting board here, and the only reason I don't recommend this is because you can hurt yourself with one of these very badly. Don't recommend trying it that way, because you're putting a lot of pressure and something can slip, break, and yeah, I have many scars. Okay, so I have several different ways of doing this. Your Dremel tool, you can cut into here, make your first incision through this difficult part, and then I would go ahead and cut it the rest of the way through with your blade. You don't want to get too close to those second holes, because anything with the Dremel, is going to be wider, so I'd stay out into here on the edge, and you can just trim it up as need be, but you just want to get through this thicker part. And I dropped it on the floor. That was great. This worked, but I don't have anything else handy I can find. take some kind of a saw blade, and you'll want to do a pulling motion with the teeth instead of away from the teeth. Okay. You'll want to cut into it right along the last two holes. Those two holes at the end. Because this can walk. So you have to be careful there. Too far over into it, you'll mess it up. You want to... Of course, I could always take my... Just make a nice little indentation there. Just a little starter spot for it. And you just want to pull real slowly straight down. Make you a line. Any of this TrueScale stuff, if you're not willing to, if you get frustrated easy, I'd get somebody else to do it for you, or maybe think of finding the easiest route. Like I said, with this bike, there was very little I had to do to him, and I really like this model. It's beautiful looking. I can't wait to get him all finished up. And look how I got him leaning into that, like he's turning the bike. But anyway, getting off topic here. Okay, after I got it fairly well through, and where I'm going to cut this, focus just isn't want to work with me today. Because right along that line, I'm going to try to stay to the outside of those two holes. That leaves me that bar there. That bar between those two holes. And I'll just, not really worrying about what the rest of this is going to look like. You can trim these off. It'll make it a little easier to cut. If you have a very sharp blade, you can snip those off. Very careful when you're pushing like this towards yourself that there's some plastic between the blade and your finger, and you don't want to push that hard. You know, cut your finger off. Very bad. Okay, so I'm gonna give this a push and see how it comes out here. You're going to ruin some stuff by cutting and sawing, and so don't get bent out of shape if you mess something up too bad. You can always try to, you know, with green stuff, work on how you work with your technique on your green stuff. You can usually always fix it. And see, I'm messing this one up big time. Not cutting it straight. I'm at an angle. Oh, where I'm trying to shoot this on camera. Hard to keep everything. Plus, this plastic can be hard at times. And there goes the half. Okay. And then I usually will file it down. And now we have a second side ready. I'm making one for him and one for him. You want to try to get the same style of backpack. And we'll take and shave the skull off. I try to leave the rivets still on there. It's a little tricky because you're cutting into that there. Everything just go real slow with. After you do these a couple times, my first one I had to piece together with green stuff in the middle. And what I like about this is you have the skull to use, say, on a chest. This was my first eagle that I've tried, and I used the skull there. That's for a future video, though. Okay. Now I'll make my divot in the last two holes. Angle it, then angle it from the other side, making your divot. Blade. Like I said, this is overkill. Can't find my small hand saw that I use for my miniatures. This gives me a little steadier hand than my Dremel. I've messed some backpacks up with the Dremel, so it scares me a little bit. Because I'm not made out of money. I've gotten a pack of backpacks here, but I'd like not to mess up as many as I can. But it's all about having fun, guys. See what you can do with what you have. Digging in that bits box and if you like creating a figure out of another one and making it look the way you want it, TrueScale can be very fun. I've gotten a lot of enjoyment out of it. Okay, let's see what we're at here. Alright, got that cut down in there. Try to go from the back side this time. Try to line it up straight. Press real hard. And voila. That didn't perfectly cut even. That's why we gotta. Okay. Now, if you don't want it quite that wide, you can shave these, file them down far you want them. I kind of don't want it that wide, so I'm going to do a little filing. I try to file a little bit of an angle. Okay, let's try this out and see what it looks like. closer to where we want it. Let's take this backpack off and see where we're at. This one is a little smaller, but actually it's probably proportionally exactly right. Yeah, see, we're still a little off. But I'd rather file back, start another one. That side looks pretty good. So we're at, yeah, we'll see if we can come a little bit. You can see a little bit more of that edge. And I'm trying to get as close as I can to those two holes there. As far as the edge of them. You can't go much farther. You don't really want to grind a lot off this. That looks pretty good, I think. Matches up pretty close on the holes. We'll see. Yeah. How close we are to the original. Or the smaller one here. It's just a hair bigger. Yep, this is not my best bottle, but the only gelled up glue I have. It'll work for this. Trust me, guys. Okay. I will try to push the glue toward the back in case there's any extra, and try to line up those holes perfectly. And then push her together. And voila. Now we'll clean the excess glue off. I usually like to do this with a dull blade. If you have a rag close by that's you don't care to wipe stuff on, or just something we don't want to mess up any of the details in there. Now we'll let this dry, and all we have yet to do is green stuff this middle, little at the bottom, and bam, we have a TrueScale backpack. It is a little wider than the other one. Let's see how this one looks. I know it's about the same as this one, so I thought I'd made this one a tiny bit smaller. The one side you can see. Most of the way done. Thanks for watching, guys. When I get some of these newer ones made up, I'll post some videos. Still working on some of my Terminators. I'll have future videos of those. Thanks for watching again, and see you later.